In this episode, I'm going to run you through what a typical training week looks like. I'm going to take it day by day, so there's going to be a different episode for each day, and then you can just go through the episodes day by day and work out what your schedule may or may not look like. So if you're an amateur or a semi-pro player, this is perfect for you, especially if you're someone who's trying to balance work, life, studies. You don't want the heavy legs on game day. You don't want the niggling injuries. You just want to wake up, know exactly what to do, tick it off and get on with your life. And when you get to the Saturday or the Sunday, when you kick off, you're fit, you're sharp, you're explosive, you feel good. And then when it gets to beach season or gets to the weekend or whatever you're doing, you look good as well. So what's going to happen is I'll show you or talk to you, about what that training week looks like. So we'll just start with the simplest format, and that'll be game day and then the day after game day. So if you've looked at any of my stuff before, I talk a lot about what I call the peak performance protocol. Now it's just a fancy name for explaining that you need to peak on game day. So a lot of football players who are playing part-time or amateur are also working full-time. You've got shit going on in your life, and by the end of the training week, you've obviously already had work, life, studies, all sorts going on. You're tired mentally, physically. You've had your squad training as well, and then you have to be ready for that Saturday. So what a lot of people do, will go to the gym, they'll do extra running, and that all accumulates, and then before you know it, it's Saturday again and they feel like crap, as opposed to sort of flipping it a little bit where they go, do you know what, let's build everything so I'm fresh come the weekend. So the best way to do that is to make Saturday, let's just say Saturday's your game day. The exact same principles here if it's Sunday, but if Saturday's your game day, what you're going to do is start with, right, welcome to this episode. We're going to just go through welcome to the episode. We're going to do a few episodes. Right, welcome to this episode. Welcome to this episode of Football Fitness. I'm just going to go through a very simple format for you as a part-time or amateur player to know what to do on each day of the week. So when you wake up, you know how to train, what to do based on what you've done previously. Now the best way I can think of doing this is just going through it day by day, so every day will have its own episode. So to start, and to keep this episode short and practical, I want to get stuck straight in. So if you're someone who's balancing work and life and studies, and you want to start the week off right, let's just say you play on a Saturday. The first day of your week, as your working week, is going to be the Monday. Now if you've seen things I've done in the past, I don't tend to like for a football player to call Monday the first day of the week. I know that sounds mental, but I like Saturday to be the first day of the week. If that's your game day, I like game day to be the first day of the week, because you want to be fresh at the start of the week. For the sake of this episode format, we'll just keep it simple. We'll go Monday's your first day of the week, and let's say you played Saturday. So with any rule of thumb here, midweek game, weekend game, you want to give yourself a 48-hour recovery window. Now, professionals do the same thing, but they've got less stress than you. They've got more time to recover. They've obviously got insane amounts of support as well, whereas more than likely, you're either in the camp of your finishing game on a Saturday, you go to the pub with your mates, or even if you go home, you might have an event to go to, a wedding, a party. Even if you're just chilling at home, you're still going to have to then prepare for work on the Monday, and all that stress accumulates. So you might actually need a little bit longer than that. It doesn't mean you can't train, it just means you need to be a bit more sensible with what you do. So if you wake up on a Monday, you've played on a Saturday, you might be a little bit sore, you might feel I could train, absolutely fine. But what I recommend you do is you do an upper body session, especially if you're someone who wants to pack on some lean muscle or you like to stay strong. I really recommend this is the best day for upper body. What you can also do is you could do some lower body mobility work. So let's just say I went to the gym, and this is super simple, don't overcomplicate this. For an upper body session, it just has to be something pushing and pulling upper body, something you're pushing horizontally. So think of a bench press or a push-up, something where you're pulling horizontally. That could be a seated cable row, a standing row, a million different types of rows. And if you progress that forward, you can then go to the next block of exercises. Can be vertical, so that can be an overhead press for your push, and it could be a chin-up for your pull. There's a million different variations here, so don't worry too much about it. But if you stick to some sort of format like that, and you're doing 2 to 4 sets of 6 to 10 reps, and then just week to week doing a little bit more based on how you feel. Some days you'll feel worse than others, but if you do that and then finish off with some core exercises, your program's solid. In between that and your rest periods, I would throw in some hip flexor mobility, posterior hips, so the back of your hip mobility, adductors, so the groins, work on ankle mobility, spine mobility, just things that tend to be tight after games, just to loosen you off. Now once that's finished, if you still feel okay, a couple of things could be happening. One, you could have a squad session that night, which is a recovery session for most teams who train on a Monday. So I work currently for a semi-pro team, we changed our schedule, but we used to train on a Monday, game on a Saturday. On that Monday night, it was warm-up, 15 minutes, everything I've just explained would get warm, we would loosen off all those areas I mentioned. We would do passing practice just to get a touch of the ball, get the dust off. So for our next session, we had at least had a touch of the ball. And then sometimes we'd throw in a fun game just to get the mood up. And then we'd do something like football tennis, or we might go through like a passing automation in terms of our shape, how we typically play, but it wasn't a lot of running involved. And that was it, about an hour session. Really low intensity, and that was really the session in a nutshell. You could do the same if you don't have a session. You could either get on the ball, touch on the ball, not a conditioning session, just literally knocking about the ball. If you can't do that for whatever reason, absolutely fine. You can just jump on a spin bike and get the legs moving. 20 minutes, keep heart rate 110 to 120 beats per minute. That's it, you're done. Monday's done. Get a good sleep, eat well, and on this particular day, you should really make sure that you've got as much fatigue as possible out your system, because the days that follow, which we'll get onto on the next episode, are the days that are going to really, really allow you to build fitness from a football standpoint and from an aesthetic standpoint as well. Ensure you stay strong, resilient, powerful, and make sure you prepare for the week ahead. So hopefully that was useful for you. That's just a quick recap. So rule of thumb, 40 hours post-match, make that your recovery phase. The game day is your performance phase, 40 hours post-match is the recovery phase. I'll talk about what you would do on that Sunday when we get to the last episode. And then you upper body session, push-pull, vertical, horizontal, bit of core work, mobility in between, spin bike or squad light recovery session, home, good night's sleep, relax, done. Hopefully that was useful, like I said, and please click the follow button, subscribe button. If you listen on podcast, just listen. If you can click the subscribe button, and on YouTube, the same, please. Massively appreciated. If you have any questions, pop it in the box below. I believe Spotify allows you to do that, and then YouTube as well. Until then, I'll catch you next episode, and we'll go through the Tuesday or the day after that match day +2.